All right. Good Vach, everyone, and welcome to what's a Shabbos Sichos Haran Shir Mitzvah Shem. This week, Thursday, Friday is going to be Rosh Chodesh Elul. Very appropriate. The Sicha of today. Actually, these are two Sichas which hopefully will cover both of them, being that we're dealing with the same Inyan, which is crucial. They're dealing with Emunas Tzaddikim, an amazing thing. So let me just share the screen with you so we can take a look and read here. Sicha Chav Beis, Rabbeinu says, Tov me'oid mi shezoiche liot mikor b'tzadik amiti. It's very good. It's a great thing to be close to a true tzaddik. Because in the future, it is said, basically talking about our time, before our time, in our time, le'choz b'chanfos haaretz, to hold in the edges of the land, the corners of the land, v'inaru rishonim mimeno, and the wicked will be waved off from it. Sheyeches b'chanfos haaretz, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to hold the land by the edges and shake off the rishonim. Aval mi shu mekur v'tzadik amiti, but somebody who is close to a real tzaddik, he will hold himself by the tzaddik, and he will hold on, and he won't get shaken with the Rishon because he will hold himself by the tzaddik. And Sicha Chav Gimel takes the same concept and goes one step further. This is talking, Sicha Chav Beis is talking about the situation in this world. How difficult it is to hold on by Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now, as the world is coming to a close, as it were, the great test is coming. It has been coming for the past 2 centuries. And with the rising of the quote-unquote Enlightenment, which was the great propaganda ruse of Napoleon. He basically washed Europe for a couple of decades in blood in his propaganda, which basically, dropped the bottom morally of his enemies is that he is bringing equality to all. The enlightenment and equality to all. And the Jews, Dafka in Germany, hopped on the bandwagon, the very same way as the Jews in America do today. But the fact is that even those that did not actually fall off the wagon of Yiddishkeit, the Yiddishkeit that is outside of the realm of the Tzaddikim Amitiyim, there's a lot of goodness to it. Rabbeinu says that we owe a debt of gratitude to Mefarsom Shesheka, to false rebbes. He says, because they keep the people wearing the traditional clothing. So it's a very, very great thing. But by and large, it's if it's not by a tzaddik amiti, it's something which is empty when it comes to avodas Hashem. When a person is holding himself by tzaddik amiti, he will hold on and won't be shaken off, won't be thrown off, together with the Rishon, because he will hold himself by the tzaddik. The point that I'm trying to make, and I will make it later on a bit more, is the union of holding yourself by the tzaddik, holding the tzaddik, holding on to the tzaddik. This is not just, obviously you do it by learning the tzaddik's stories and by listening to his eitzes. But you have to understand that the tzaddik is far greater than the Torah that we learn. Reb Nosson writes that, in the Torah, Rabbeinu says that we talk to the mind has to get into the emunah, to get renewed. Mental faculties have to go to sleep, have to enter sleep, the state of sleep, the state of emunah, to get renewed. And he said that Rabbeinu explains that there are few bechinas of something which is called a state of sleeping, which can rejuvenate a higher level of mental activity. For instance, to the activity of Dveikus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is a very, very tiring state. So people who are in Dveikus, who can reach the level of Dveikus, they need to get out of Dveikus and learn Pashta Raisa, to learn Gemara, learn Shulchan Aruch, whatever it is for them. This is called sleeping. It rejuvenates their moyach. For us, learning, Pashta Raisa is like, whoa, that's tremendous motion. But for those people who are at that level, learning Pashta Raisa is it gives rest. It gives rest to the mind. For people who are in Losa Madrega, who for them, exerting the motion is learning Torah, learning Gemara, learning Shulchan Aruch, whatever it is that they learn. they also have to stop, to give rest to their mental faculties. And it's during that time that the mind is resting. It's a bechina of sleep when compared to the time when they're actually learning. Then you have some people, that their rest is that they go and they deal with business. They go to work, they have jobs. So working for them is a bechina of sleep. Rabbeinu says even more than that, because Am Yisrael are all interconnected and one is a guarantor for another. So the people who are involved only in business, but they do so in justly, with emunah, they provide the necessary service of sleep to the Talmidei Chachamim that are sitting and learning Torah. It's an amazing thing. But he says over there that Rabbeinu told him that, the tzaddikim cannot remain in a state of dveikus all the time, that they have to exit that state. And they have to speak to people. Rasan explains that from the mind of the tzaddik himself, we cannot possible connect to it. We cannot be makabel from it. It's way beyond our pay grade. Even from his Torahs. Yeah, we can learn it, Baruch Hashem, and we can learn whatever it is. But the real conversations that we have from the tzaddik, we can be makabel when the tzaddik's mind is an bechina of shena. When the tzaddik is asleep, as it were. Then we can connect to him. Then we can, we can see eye to eye, as it were. And you can see that very clearly in Sichos Haran, that you get to know Rabbeinu on a very, very different level. He's speaking to you very, very simply. I mean, he's presenting you with, the truth, just the way it is. But it's a level that you can read and say, okay, now I understand. It's very good to be close to a tzaddik amiti, because in the future there'll be a great test. The people will be shaken off their emunah. And somebody that will connect to the tzaddik will not be shaken off. Oh, this we can understand. He's speaking to us on our level. The sichos is a level of sleep by the tzaddik. But the tzaddik he makes himself, he turns himself, and he's turned mishamayim into an entity that is impervious not only to the rigors and ups and downs of this world, as Sichos Haran denotes, but as you'll see in Sichos Haran, it goes beyond this world as well. And it says as follows: Ana v'omer, Rachmanos of this world, hakol roim, everybody can see it. Bishvil zeh hakol roim, that's why everybody's running after this world. Kiroim, because they see when a person is roiv, etzameh v'chayotze, someone is hungry, he's thirsty, and things are very hard for him. Yesh rachmanos gadol alav, there's a big rachmanos, they feel a great compassion for him. Somebody who walks naked and barefoot. In those days, in Rabbeinu's days, this is how poor people would go. I mean, they had no clothing. There's There's a big Rachmanis today. Everybody's dressed today. They don't have a smartphone, they're naked and are walking barefoot. But, as it were, there's Rachmanis Gadol of Mish Yesh Lo Einayim. But anybody who has true eyes, V'roeh Gadol HaRachmanis Sheyesh Lo Neshamas Sheba'olam Haba. He sees the great Rachmanis that there is on the souls in the world to come. And he says as follows, check this out. Kisham ba'olam haba, in the world to come, the next world, nimtzayim bnei adam, there are certain people, she'olchim arumim mamesh, they're going naked, mamash naked. Ve'i efshar lerachem aleim klal, it's not possible for rachmanis on them at all. Ki ba'olam hazeh, in this world, K'sha'adam eram b'lo malbush, when a person is naked without clothing, as if shal lekabetz nedava savura, you can go collecting for him. Also, make him a kaftan, make him a beged. Aval ba'olam haba, in the world to come, mishaelech arm, somebody who is going naked, you cannot have rachmanis on him. Over there in olam haba, no rachmanis helps, no compassion helps. What kind of clothing does he need? Hello, the clothing that he needs, Allahu rak malbush al Torah mitzvahs. That's the only clothing that he needs. The Torah mitzvahs the person wears is the keli, is the tool that enables him to enjoy the light of Kadosh Baruch Hu and Olam Haba. So no rachmanis helps. And listen to this. Aval misha zeicher liskarev letzaddik amiti. Pay attention to this. Uyechol lorutz letzaddik v'likachetz lo eze malbush. In Olam Haba, he can get to the tzaddik and he can run to him and to get some clothing, some faculty, some kalim. Lislabish atzman, and wear it. And then Reb Nosson says, V'shuv shamati sichosay, and then I heard his sicha akdosha, his holy sicha, something which is very similar to that. He says, Ba'olam haba, there are few people that are all the way outside, and they are shouting in a very bitter voice, give us something to eat. And people come to him and says, here you have food, here you have drink. Eat and drink. And he says, no, we don't need such eating. We need eating and drinking of Torah and Avodah. And thus are laying outside a few naked people outside, and they're also screaming like that. Cover us, give us something to cover ourselves. And people come to him and says, here you have malbushim, here you have clothing. He says, no. These are not the clothing, the garments that we need. We need mitzvahs and masim tovim to wear. And here Rabbeinu brings it down to our level. And he says, Ashrei, how fortunate it is. Somebody who is zoiche to eat a few proka mishnayos, and afterwards drink a few kapitlach tilim, and wear a few mitzvahs. It's a rather astonishing statement. The fact that we can actually get close to the tzaddik in Olam Haba, and the tzaddik can give you malbushim, even though you didn't do the mitzvahs in this world. It's an astonishing thing. Now, how can it be? How can I get, malbushim, which is Torah mitzvahs, which I did not do, solely by being close to the tzaddik? We can definitely hypothesize on how this works. The Torah that we're learning, the Likutei Moharan, Torah Chaf, speaks about the mutual dependency between the tzaddik and the people. That when the tzaddik is looking for diburim from the supernal heart, he needs to connect himself with Nishmas Yisrael that are there when he is saying his Torah. And the more people that are there, the greater the Kedusha that he elevates. And the greater the Kedusha that he elevates with his tefillah, the greater the Torah, the diburim that he gets mishamayim. So it is therefore found that everybody who is by the tzaddik, when the tzaddik is saying Torah, has a chelek in the Torah of the tzaddik. So that could be one explanation of how a person who himself did not learn, but he has a chelek in the Torah of the tzaddik. So the tzaddik can give him some dressing, some clothing, some food, spiritual food, sustenance, and Olam Haba. You can also look at it as we said that the power of Tziyun Rabbeinu, of the Tziyun of all the tzaddikim, but especially of Tziyun Rabbeinu, is when a person comes there. You see, in Olam Haba, there is no advancement. Advancement spiritually is a process that entails going up and going down, aliyas and yeridas. As Rabbeinu says in Torah Vav, Baki beratzoi, Baki b'shav. But in Olam Haba, there's no Baki beratzoi, Baki b'shav. Olam Haba is static. But what happens is that when people come to the tzaddik, and especially when they come to the tzaddik, after his passing, and he is asking the tzaddik to help him out, the tzaddik has to come down from wherever he is in Olam Haba. He has to come down to the madrega of that person. And commensurately with the immense descent that he has to perform, afterwards he's able to get an aliyah in Olam Haba in order to obtain the kind of deliverance that person needs. I mean, the generations go down and down and down all the time. There's a story which I've heard in a few different few different versions. And it's dafka because of these few versions that I know that is a true story. They said there was one version of the story that says that there was a drug dealer that was running some kind of a drug deal in Ukraine. And he got a hint that from his cronies that the police was onto him, that he should escape. But escape where? Anybody would know, that he's not Ukrainian. So what he did was he went to Uman. It was around Rosh Hashanah time, and he went to Uman to be together with everybody else, where people wouldn't notice him. That's one version of how he got there. Another version, he got there because he went with his buddies and they hacked him a chinik until he went, but he wasn't interested at all in going there. And this, if drug dealer, whatever it is, the situation, whatever the background story of how he got to Uman doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that he got to Uman from Rosh Hashanah with zero interest in Rabbi Nachman, in Breslov, in Yiddishkeit, in anything. He didn't go to the Tzion, he didn't do anything, he just stayed by the apartment, whatever it is. And after Rosh Hashanah, on the way back, he just passed by the Tzion, and he told the story. He said he just went like this with his hand, and he says, "Goodbye, Rabbi Nachman." He didn't even go in. He just from the outside, "Goodbye, Rabbi Nachman," and he went. And he returned to Israel, and sometime later, he was shot. That person was shot. I don't know if it's his neck or his head, whatever, he was shot. And he was taken to the hospital. He died. He died, then he came back. In other words, I don't know what it means that he died and came back, or he was, about to die. I don't know what. I don't understand these things. But what we do know is that he said that he went to Olam Haba, he went to Beis Mishlamala, where it was, decided that it was his time to leave the world. That's it. When suddenly, it's this, a person which he never saw in his life came running and said, "Don't touch him. He's one of my people." Give him more time, he will do tshuva. So they told him, being Rabbi Nachman says that you're one of his people, so you can go back to this world. He became about tshuva. So I heard this story, as I said, I heard it in quite a few versions, but the principle is the same thing. He came to the Shemayim, I don't know, he was a drug dealer, he was a this, or that. So, I mean, a fine schmecker, high society guy, he was not. And that he came to Uman is a common denominator amongst all the versions of the story. The fact that he wasn't interested in the Tzion or anything is also equal in all the versions. And the fact that he was shot is also a thread common to all the versions. And the fact that, if he actually waved to Rabbi Nachman, if he passed by the Tzionut, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you understand that when it comes to closeness to the tzaddik, you're talking about someone that is equally at home in this world and the next world, and can do you favors in this world and in the next world. We all the time, we understand, us. And I'm not talking just us, I'm talking about people who are much greater than us. Anash Kenai Nahara, there's tremendous tzaddikim, tremendous Ovdei Hashem. It's not even possible to put it into our minds the level of the simplest of the Rebbe's people. That includes you, and probably me. The simplest people, that they know of the inner of his Beidadus. But still, when you read the Zohar Kodesh, you read all the Sfarim, you read the Gemara Maseches Shabbos before the end. It talks about the powerlessness of a person when he reaches, the final departure after 120 years. That he no longer has control. And then, this whole process, what happens to him, mistaken him if he's a tzaddik, if chas v'chalila, the opposite. But the common denominator is all that, you have your chance in this world. And we all know that we're missing a lot. We're missing a lot of opportunities. We're losing things. In fact, we are dripping like a sieve. Torah, mitzvahs, with thoughts, with deeds, with all kinds of, with looks that we're not supposed to look. So when after 120 years, they come and drag a person away, what a pitiful sight it is. And there you have the tzaddik that is the master of Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. In the 7 pillars of Rabbi Yitzchak Breiter, Shem Yinkom Domo, he says that the tzaddik is based in Shalmala. The tzaddik is the Ashkoch of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tzaddik is the light that shines to all the worlds, all the elements. The tzaddik is the Shekhinah. One of the most amazing things that Rabbeinu said about himself, which bears a lot of davening in his Beidadus and contemplation, he said as follows: from me, you can learn the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because after everything is said and done, what am I? Just a piece of a person, a shtickle person. what he means to say that from his greatness, you can start imagining how great the Kadosh Baruch Hu is. If this is how great a person is, the Tzaddik is, how great a Kadosh Baruch Hu is. Because after all, what am I? Just a shtickle person. And when you think about that statement, it's astonishing, because why do you need to know how great the Kadosh Baruch Hu is from the Tzaddik? Take a look around. See the world around you. There's nothing there. It's a hologram. Every single thing that you see is willed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu at every single unit. I can't say time, because time itself is being created, so everything will be. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes this. Everything that you see around you, you, me, the computer, the air, the thought, everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What else do we need? What other testimony do we need to the greatest HaKadosh Baruch Hu? We take a look at our bodies and we realize how much we take for granted. That everything works. You know, one of Big Rebbe Rashi Yeshiva says, if a person knew how many things have to go right for the food that he eats until he has to go, to be mispan in the bathroom, whenever he would come out of the bathroom in those days, I'm talking about 80 years, whatever, he said he would send a telegram home every time he came out of the bathroom, Baruch Hashem, everything is okay. It went all right, it was Batzliach. Just when you eat, and then after the whole thing was, digested, and you went to the bathroom. So many miracles are involved in that. They would send a telegram. By then, telegram, he paid by the word. I don't know if you remember those days. The younger guys don't remember that. By telegram, you paid by the word, right? So it's like, the telegram, the guy said, to his, sends a telegram to his father, and he says, Baruch Hashem, I have a son, whatever it is, and I need money. Love your son. Then he goes to the post office and he starts counting the words. He says, there's a lot of words. So he says, so he takes the word, love your son. I mean, obviously his son loves it. So he takes out the word love and he crosses it out. Okay, and he says, and then he goes on and says, it still costs a lot of money. So who would send him a thing? He says, if he has a son, he needs money. Obviously his son. So I don't have to put, to put his name on. And so like this, at the end, it's so obvious that only the son would do it. At the end, he has a telegram that there's nothing written on it, But I remember getting a telegram. A person would come to your house and knock on your door and give you an envelope, and you tore it open, and in there were a amount of words, very, very short, because each one costs money. You have to tell them something, how unbelievable it is. It says every time a person eats something and afterwards, he goes to the bathroom, he said he has to send the telegram home. That Baruch Hashem, everything passed the shalom. So why do we need to see from the tzaddik how great the Kadosh Baruch, how great the tzaddik is, and say, wow, if the tzaddik is this great and he's just a person, wow, Kadosh Baruch Hu. The answer is, we don't know. Because all these things that I described to you are in the level of Yediyah. As Rabbeinu says in Sicha Aleph, he says, Ikar Yediyah Shelo Neida. The apex of knowing is when you reach the level that you don't know anymore. That you realize you don't know anymore. Only a great doctor understands already how much he doesn't know. A beginner doctor knows everything. So this lack of idea that we don't, what can we possibly find out about the greatness of the tzaddik? We will learn a kal v'chomer, Kadosh Baruch Hu, just a person, a Kadosh Baruch Hu. This belongs to a higher level of yediyah that we haven't started, because Rabbeinu says, that even, the people that have already reached the level of not knowing, this is only in that level of knowing that they exist. But beyond that, there is knowing that they haven't even started yet, and knowing which is above their not knowing. There's knowing that ends in not knowing, and above that there's knowing that ends in not knowing, and so forth and so on. Which means that there is a greatness of Rabbeinu that we are supposed to discover, that we're supposed to look for, we're supposed to daven for. So we should be able to have a glimpse so that we will be able to learn the kal v'chomer. What, the tzaddik is like that? And he's just a person. He can save you in olam hazeh and olam haba. He can help you with money. He can help you with health. He can help you with your children. He can help you with your shlom bayis. If you lean on him, if you connect to him, how much does a person have to pray and beg a Kodesh Baruch Hu to hold on to the tzaddik, to listen to the tzaddik, to listen to talmidim of the tzaddik, to get close to the bigger talmidim of the tzaddik. Our problem is that we are all smart Alex. We look at Gdolei Anash, I don't know, whoever it is, and yeah, he's not my cup of tea. Why? Because he said something that I didn't like. So what? So he said something that I, Mr. Big, did not like or don't agree. I don't agree. Who am I not to agree? Who am I not to like? Okay, you know something? Let's say that I have a right not to like and not to agree. All right. It's legitimate. But Rabbeinu says you're supposed to belittle yourself before people who are greater than you, before people who are on the same level as you, before people who are on a lower madrega than you. And if you are on the lowest madrega, so even below the madrega that you're on. We learned in Likutei Moharan. To daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to have an ayin tova, to be mevatel myself, to get close to Talmidei Rabbeinu, to all of them, and especially to somebody who connects to me, connects to my shorish neshama, and give me the light of the tzaddik, the tmimis, the yashris, because how does Rabbeinu finish this sicha? How fortunate is a person who eats a few Prakar Mishnayos every day, who drinks a few kapitlich Tehillim every day, and who wears some mitzvahs every single day. All kinds of people have all kinds of kashas on Rabbeinu. Rabbi Nosson says, I have never known of a nisht kasha, a bigger nisht kasha than Rabbeinu. There's no kasha in Rabbeinu at all. Unless, of course, you want to have kashas. Then, it's like sinas chinam. Did you ever see anybody who have sinas chinam? We all hate some people, but it's not without reason. It's not a baseless hate. We all have reasons, right? Maybe there were couples that doesn't have the ribbon around. They're wearing a different couple. Maybe that this, maybe that, whatever. We all have reasons. It's not sinas chinam. I know exactly why I hate him. He doesn't wear the kind of clothes that I wear. He wears the big hat and looks Yerushalmi. And he's sitting there with signs that say, the Tziyonim, whatever it is. That's not my... I have a reason why. Why we call it sinas chinam? Because it's not a reason. Your reason is not a reason. It's sinas chinam. Come closer to me, the Rabbeinu. Listen to everyone, especially the special ones, the higher ones. Chaim Kramer, Nosson Maimon, Moshe Kramer, Reb Shimon Teichner, Simcha Bar Lev. Each and every one of them. Reb Nosson David Kivak, whoever, it doesn't matter. Go listen to be makabel from them. And the thing that you need to look from them, by them, is the Ruach HaKodesh of Rabbeinu. Because when you discover the Ruach HaKodesh of Rabbeinu, you'll be able to know Hashem's greatness. You will hold yourself with them. They will help you in this world, they'll help you in the next world. It's an amazing sicha, dafka by Chabad. Chabad seems to be the epitome of Emunas Tzaddikim, the way they hold of the Rebbe. But when you actually hear what they say about the Rebbe, you realize that they admire him and they're totally bottled to him. But what is his greatness? That an artist came to him and he told him how to make his music and this, and he knew what happened here and knew what happened there. There was pitch of kiss, small little things. Baruch Hashem, they learn his Torah, Baruch Hashem, whatever it is, but the Emunas Tzaddikim, by then, is not, in Chabad, it's not based on that. In Chabad, they know nothing about Tzaddikim, what a Tzaddik does. They believe, Baruch Hashem is a Tzaddik, whatever it is, we learn his Torah, and we chazer his Torah, and we tell his Torah to other people, and this is what you need to do, and whatever the Rebbe says goes, that's it. But the fact that the tzaddik gives you ruach chayim, like Rabbeinu says in Torah Ches, that the tzaddik brings down the Torah, and whatever it is we learn, they don't know of any of that. Still, what they call the Frierdiker Rebbe, Rebbe Rayatz, the father-in-law of the last Lubavitcher Rebbe, one of his men, when he came to him, he told him that he was in a very dangerous, precarious situation. So the Rebbe Ayatz asked him, why didn't you ask me for help? How about because you were about 800 miles away? It doesn't matter. A tzaddik amiti can help you. You can talk to him. You're connected to him. You have no idea what a tzaddik amiti is. I don't have any idea what a tzaddik amiti is. But the one thing which is clear is we cannot subsist without him. Hashem should help us as we are entering to Chodesh Elul. That Hashem we should all be zeichet to be in Uman for Rosh Hashanah. And those who are not zeichet to be in Uman Rosh Hashanah should know that wherever they are, they are in Uman for Rosh Hashanah, wherever they are. Hashem should help you. I wish you all a very good week. And B'ezrat Hashem, Monday night, I assume that I will be back. I'm traveling with my son, with Hashem Tzfas, so I will be in touch with it. It is possible, Lina, that maybe we will push off the Sippur and Mises to Tuesday. But in Mitzvah Hashem, I will let you know in time. So I wish you all a very, very good week. And should be at Tzlach.